All right, everybody. Hello. Welcome in. Yet another week in the books. Ripper, start off where we start from. Something
We
about
start
heroes,
off
right?
heroes. What?
You said that in chat. I didn't know. So
Heroes? Is that what I said? It
yeah.
wasn't heroes. I think that was spell check. I meant to say hemorrhoids, but
Oh,
whatever.
gotcha. Okay. Well,
You said heroics,
heroics.
sir.
Oh no, I said talk about hemorrhoids and maybe you'll pick up a new sponsor.
Gotcha. What's up, Doctor Duck? What's up, Shenanigator? So big ones for me. Injuries, right, man?
That's the big topic.
We lost Chubbs. He's a
Broken
goner.
Chubb.
Browns have got a backup and forward, sign Hunt from the street. Um, but that was nasty.
That was horrible.
Yeah,
Now I'm
they
not really blaming the defender, but I was honestly a lot of people are blaming the turf, right? So turf is a lot of different than grass. There's a lot more give in grass than there is turf. So when your cleat gets stuck in the turf and stuff like that, ugh,
it's not a wonderful thing. So and
Did you see the video?
I did. Although I like the fact that the football presentation wouldn't show it. So that was neat. But yeah, it was brutal, man. And it didn't look that like from up top you didn't see it, but when they showed that angle where the lineman hit the knee and it kind of buckled, you're like, oh, that's not supposed to happen. They said his ACL's fine. They said it blew everything else out.
What's everything else?
They said all the other ligaments,
All of them?
all of
Oh,
them.
but hey, his MCL is okay.
Yeah, the ACL's still there, so he'll be back next week. He'll take him.
Right.
Him and Aaron Rodgers are going to be on the European recovery train, right?
Dude, if he plays again, I'd be surprised. Honestly, that was really bad.
And it'll be
I mean,
a
but then
testament
again,
testament to modern science, right? Like, because
well,
that used to end your career.
look at Alex Smith though, right? He came back.
Yeah, but he had like the same like the leg thing where you like chunked out half of his leg too.
Right tibia, right fibula, yeah.
Well, he broke it and then he got an infection in it, and they had to cut out like part of the leg. Like that was the bad part.
Ow.
I mean, there's some bad ones.
Sorry,
There's a lot
Daniel.
of bad accidents in the NFL, man. You can Google like the worst accidents in the NFL, and there's some gruesome pictures out there.
Well, there's some deaths.
Well, okay, yeah, I think your heart stopping on the football field
Yeah,
takes everything for sure.
exactly. The then what is it? Stingley was paralyzed.
Yeah,
So yeah.
there's been a lot of bad ones out there, bro. Well, let's not forget, man, that football is it's a physical sport. It's a violent sport, bro. It's the closest you're getting to,
modern day gladiators, right?
yes and no, right? Because you can name the UFC, but yes, modern day gladiators, and it's brutal, it's violent, it's physical, and people do get hurt. That's the honest truth of it all.
Well, the odd thing to me is that they're trying to regulate. I get because football came in, and when it came in, we didn't have all the equipment, all the safety equipment, but people weren't as big. Like people weren't trying to be ginormous human beings. There were a few ginormous human beings that were very fast and very big, but they didn't have the programs we do now. Now there's youth programs, and you see it all the training and all the things to make you bigger, faster, stronger. And at some point, the human body is not meant to go 60 miles an hour and hit another human body going 60 miles an hour the opposite direction with 400 pounds of mass on each person. Like that's just not good.
Yeah.
So, any other any other injuries we want to talk about?
Not really. I mean, what's his name? Jamal Williams in New Orleans got hurt, but that didn't really matter. Not that it didn't matter. It wasn't a bad injury, but he's out for 3 to 4, I believe, is what they're saying. It really didn't matter in the sense that Kamara's back, or after this week, anyways.
Yeah,
There's a 3 week suspension.
I think it was either 3 or 4.
Yeah,
So he'll be
other
back.
than that, major injuries are my favorite Egyptian is hurt, but it looks like he's only going to be out a week, if even.
All right, let's go over. So last week, straight up, you and I were 10-6. Striker was 8-8. Against the spread got us. We were 7-8-1. Pushed on the Saints game. Both me and you are 7-8-1. Striker, do not take betting advice from Striker. He was 3-12-1. He will take your money from Vegas. So on the year against the spread, 20-12 is Ripper's stats. 21-11 mine, 17-15 for Striker. That's just straight up against the spread. 14-17-1 for Ripper. 19-12-1 for me. 11-20-1 for you.
That week one, still got you on the lead there, huh?
Yeah, just for a
That
little
was
bit
a good
longer.
week.
You'll catch up. Don't worry.
Eventually. I was just saying this. If someone gave you $100,000 and told you had to spend it in 10 minutes, just ask Striker.
How to spend it, yes. Well, and honestly, like one of the bad things about the spread is we're calling every game, and even the games there are games I would not bet on. Like I would have bet whatever I had on the Jags losing to the Chiefs and felt pretty comfortable about it. But there's like some of these games, like the Saints Panthers, I would not have put money on. So yeah, there's that. I would have put pretty much any amount of money on the Jets game. Like I knew you guys were gonna blow the doors off the Jets, and you did. And he is not the answer. Like I love how they're doing it in New York, though. They're like, he's our starting quarterback. Who else is available? No. He's our starting quarterback. We love him. Who else? Anybody? Is anybody around? Like, can we get RG3? Is he good? So, all right. Let me read the chat. I don't think Hunt's gonna suck, dude. I don't, and I don't think Ford's gonna suck, and I don't think they're as good as Chubbs, but I don't think I don't think Hunt is a bad back, and Ford got 100 last week, right? The problem is the quarterback. Watson is not getting better. That's the problem. Good defense, bad quarterback.
He's not, but also you can't look the difference between Chubbs and Hunt and Ford and all that. Is Chubbs is an animal. He's a beast, and he's a back that can take the beatings. He can run for 30, 40 attempts in a game and come out all right. Obviously, well, not now, right? But
yeah, well, not when you take out his knee.
Hunt and Ford, I don't think are those guys, man. I together though they might equal a Chubb. We'll see.
I think Hunt's similar. I don't. He's not as good, but he led the league in rushing a few years back.
Yeah, but if he was that great, they would never let him go.
I think that's that. Running backs want more money, and he did the whole I'm holding out, and it worked for him. Like he got paid. He just took the preseason off, right? So
I think there's a different twist there, in my opinion. Look, nobody else picked him up. There was look at what the Patriots went and gave Ezekiel and stuff like that. The money was out there for Hunt. Nobody wanted him.
Well, I think it was part of the stuff that got him out of Kansas City was not in his favor too, right?
There's got to be more than that, bro. These guys do their research. They have people that look at it. For Cleveland, it's like, all right, he knows our offense. We already know the evil that he has, so let's just bring him in. Oh well, status quo, right? Just another day because we've already had him here. For other teams, there's got to be something else, bro. I guarantee you. Maybe he's a diva. Maybe he's still beating girls. Who knows?
Could be.
Come on.
Week 2, any surprises for you? I'm just gonna go through them real quick. The Eagles are who we thought they are. The Vikes are who we thought they are. The Falcons, man, apparently I'm wrong. In this modern day in the regular season, you don't need to throw the ball. So I guess I'm wrong on that. Apparently when they get to the playoffs, it'll be an early exit for the 16-0 or 17-0 team. The Atlanta Falcons and their 5,000 rushing yards. Disappointed how that game ended, but at the end of the second quarter, all it did is run over the Packers. I think Love looked good, but the Packers or the Falcons just ran. The Bills turned it around and beat the tar out of the Raiders. Joe in Cincinnati looks bad. Ravens won that one. The Seahawks showed some spunk beating the Lions. Good game for them. The Chargers, man, you should have put out the Titans. That's not a good sign for them.
Well, the Titans' defense isn't too bad either, though, man. Let's talk about that. Their run defense is pretty stout.
Yeah, but their pass defense is supposed to be terrible, and that's Mr. Herbert.
Well,
You know,
he's got that big money hangover.
him and Burrow. If you get signed big money, you choke.
Apparently, they're like, "Hey, man, Roger signed for big money. He only played for 5 seconds. We signed for big money. Who says we have to play?"
Correct.
Crazy, man.
Um, the
Sunshine.
Bears are who we thought they are. Sunshine, man. What I said. He didn't have time. He didn't have time. Those tackles are they. Chris Jones applied a massive amount of pressure. Kelsey got a touchdown pass. It was exactly what I thought it was. It wasn't like with 3 turnovers and the Chiefs playing really sloppy with penalties and all that. It wasn't out of reach. Like it was a 1-score game almost the entire game. But you never they couldn't commit. Like they couldn't execute or finish whatever. They couldn't finish off. They had like I think they threw 5 touchdown passes that were 6 inches off, like just in the stripe. So you gotta play big in big games.
Yep. Well, you know me. I felt buyer's remorse choosing Sunshine over Burrow. Kind of feeling better about that decision.
Well, only because Burrow's having a terrible year, right? I mean, Sunshine's not having and that's what I was worried about is that's what Sunshine kind of plays within that 250, 2 touchdown, a few rushing yards. Like that's not a top quarterback, So, and I don't remember what round you took him in, but that's again,
Mid-rounds.
He wasn't that's just I think that's where he is right now. I don't know if he'll with this line the way it is, I don't know that he'll be able to take the next step everyone's talking about. Just because he doesn't have time.
I honestly felt he'd be much better, to be honest, man. I'm a little disappointed with where he ended up, or how he's doing now. I really thought this was going to be a good year for him, and it's still not over. It still can be, man. I'm holding out hope, right?
Well, and Cam Robinson comes back, and I think when he comes back, that might solidify because they've got basically a backup and a rookie that are starting at tackles, and you can tell it's and for whatever reason, Peterson. I guess if you write a book called Fearless and that's your mantra that you're fearless, but come on, man, going for it 4th down when it's like a 1-score game on the 50-yard line, it's just stupid. You gave the Chiefs the ball back with a short 45-yard field to march down, and you're surprise. Patrick Mahomes got a touchdown pass. Like you just don't do stupid things like that. Don't get me started. All right, the Colts beat the Texans. And Anthony Richardson got a concussion.
Yep. He thought he was a running back, too.
He does think he's a running back. The 49ers and the Rams, close game. The Rams took a beating and held out. So they look like a solid team. But they lost. The Giants came back and kicked the Cards in the teeth. For like 6 quarters, the Giants didn't score, and then they did. The Cowboys pummeled the Jets. Commanders came back and beat the Broncos. Oopsie, didn't see that one. And how we trust, right? The Dolphins in a close one with the Pats. The Pats are playing plunky, man.
Plunky.
Yeah, they're in it, right? So the Saints took care of business against the Panthers, and the Steelers beat the Browns. And honestly, the fact that the Steelers managed to play the rest of that game, watching the franchise go down is probably hard, but is what it is.
Somebody on the Steelers side said, "Finish him."
Sweep the leg.
Yeah, sweep the leg, baby. Too soon. Too soon.
Too soon. All right.
All right then.
So, fans, anything you guys got out there? Harley says, "Go Ravens."
Go Ravens! I thought you were a Zona fan.
I think she's going to birds.
We're
of
not
choice.
talking about the Cardinals right now, so
we are the little people.
Huh? The Lollipop Guild cannot help them.
Oh wow, Stryker actually put in picks. Look at him go. So our analyst is dead with a back injury. Not actually dead. He is hurt. So he will
He's on the
not be
IR
here
with
today.
Chubbs.
He's on the IR with back injury. So our first game is I think it's going to be a terrible game. It is going to be the 49ers are going to be playing at home against the G-Man.
Listen, the 49ers defense is playing solid. It's a good team, bro. 49ers defense, they got Purdy, Ayuk, Debo, McCaffrey. This team is stacked, bro. It really is a great team. What's his name? The quarterback, Kittle. Tight
Party?
end, I'm sorry. Yeah. No, the tight end, Kittle. I
Oh,
already said
tight end
Purdy,
kill.
my bad. The team is really stacked, really good. We saw how New York played against Dallas. The 49ers are at that level too, man. They're just as good as what Dallas is right now. Well, how Dallas is playing. We'll see. If you stack them side by side, I think the Dallas defense is a little stronger than the 49ers defense, but the offense, no match. 49ers defense is way better. If they don't put up a 20 plus lead or win, by win from these guys, I'll be surprised. I know that the spread is 10 points. Honestly, I'd give it to them. To be honest, I know Daniel Jones had a big scoring week last week. That's only because all they have is him throwing the ball. I definitely say 49ers, and I'll play it safe and say I guess they'll cover the spread. You can't do a push, so I'm going to go 14 points, 49ers.
Oh, you can do 11. I mean, it doesn't matter.
You know what I mean.
Strikers, I think we're going to all stay in agreement. I in my head, because they don't have Barkley, because he also got injured, right? So the Giants don't have Barkley. Daniel Jones is nowhere near as good as Stafford is. And Stafford was harassed all over the place. Like, they're going to mercilessly beat down Daniel Jones. Really, the 49ers, you know what's scary for the 49ers is they have to play, 15 more games? That's what they're worried about, right? They don't want those star players getting hurt. Especially Purdy now. Like, you can't lose him. Like, right? McCaffrey, you don't want to lose him because those are
known to get hurt.
Yeah, which these are the things that make it special, right? Like, these are the games that have to suck for the 49ers because these two teams could probably play 10 times and they're going to win 9 of them, right? Maybe even 10. They're that much better than the Giants. You look at these games and you're looking for a way that the Giants are going to keep it close. The only way they keep it close is if the 49ers get up to a big lead and somehow they get some sort of like let off the gas mentality and the Giants sneak back in the game to beat the spread. Like, that's the only thing I'm worried about is that, they give up a late touchdown to okay, now we lost by 9 points. So yeah, I don't, talent wise they're different spectrums. Don't love Daniel Jones as a quarterback. There is no wide receivers, there's no running back. This is going to be a bad game for them. And then they'll play the game, and we'll be like, what?
Yeah, really, right? They are. Let's not forget, they're still professional football players, right? So.
Yeah, and they're watching things like this going, watch us.
Yeah, but you look at the stats, and you look at the team, and no Barkley, and you're right, man. It's just not there for them. Their leading receiver is a tight end. They're in trouble, bro. They're in a lot of trouble. I'm sure the Giants will right the ship to have some. I don't even know what we put them at the beginning of the season. I think they were one of the last place teams we put, right?
They were.
So, yeah, I don't see them beating the 49ers again. The 49ers will cover. There's too many weapons on the 49ers side on both sides of the ball. It's too much for the Giants to handle.
All right. Next up is going to be the Ravens hosting the Colts. The Ravens are favored by 8.
Richardson's out, right? Concussion protocol.
See, it's Minshew time.
He forgot that he's the quarterback, wanted to lower his shoulder and took a concussion. No, he hit the ground, didn't he? When he hit the ground.
I mean, he's running. He's again. Someone needs to tell him to stop doing that. I would have told him after the first week when he did it, but apparently he didn't get the memo.
Hey, man, he was exciting to watch, though, to be honest. Out of all the rookie quarterbacks, he's really not doing too bad. He didn't look too bad at all, to be honest.
He actually looked like he was a command of the offense. It was pretty neat.
They got Moss back, Colts did, and he ran up pretty well. They do have some receivers. Now you said it's Minshew, but
it's Minshew time.
I don't know if the mustache can lead them past the Ravens. Ravens D is still pretty good. They lost Dobbins, but Edwards has really stepped in and done well. They still got Lamar. They got Zay Flowers, who's looking pretty good. I know they lost Odell Beckham.
Where did Akers
Um,
end up going? They just traded Akers.
I have no idea.
I'll look it up. I thought they went to someone. Just don't
I don't
remember.
know. Long story short, the Colts have an injured quarterback. They do have a run game and a pass game. I don't believe a lot in Minshew magic.
He went to the Vikings.
I just don't see the mustache leading past the Ravens at all, man. To be honest, I think offense and defense is too much for the Colts. What's the line on this one?
8.
Oof.
That's the problem.
That's that little Vegas 8 number right there. I don't believe the Colts win, but then mustache is mustache, right? Like he has those games where you're just like, wow, this guy should be a starter, and then he has those games like, that's why he's not a starter.
Yes.
8 points, Jesus, that's a tough one, bro. It really is because not even 7's a push, right? Like they have to have 8, which is 2 scores.
Well, it's one again. Most NFL games are tight games, right? And then and even the ones that are like 10-point games, someone gets a late field goal, touchdown, whatever, and spread busted, and you've lost. So, yeah, these Vegas guys are pretty good at this stuff.
Well, the thing is that where they get you with 8 is again, it's Minshew, right? And you got to sit there and wonder, wow, can they cover with Minshew? Tough one, man. Because Zach Moss been pretty good running the ball too. Let me tell you, this is a tough one to cover. On paper, I'm gonna say that the Ravens win straight up, right?
Yep.
Against the spread, man, it's really tough for me not to say they're gonna cover, but it's tough for me to say they're gonna cover. This is actually a tough one to call. For all intents and purposes, the way the Colts are right now, without Richardson, without all that, I'm going to say they cover. I think they'll cover the spread. So I'll go with Ravens in the spread. So 9 points, I guess. Yeah.
Well, 7. So you're saying they're going to cover. So yeah, they'll 9 points.
9 points, yes.
I don't think they will. I think they're gonna win. I don't think they're going to win by a lot. The Colts are they're one of those. They're not a bad. I mean, they're not a bad team. They don't have a quarterback and a legit number 1 wide receiver from being a contending team. Minshew's not terrible, and against teams like this, he tends to do okay. I don't. I think the Colts are going to make it a game. I just do. I'm going to do Ravens. Ravens win. Ravens win by less than the spread. So Ravens 7. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah. I think they'll win. I just think it's going to be barely.
Same coach that the Texans put 20 on them?
Same what?
The same Colts that let the Texans put 20 points
What
on
was the
them?
final score on that one?
31-20.
Yeah,
Ravens are not the Colts, or not the Texans. Right? They're going to put up some points. Well, we'll find out, right?
I don't, but the Ravens don't. They're not an explosive offense. They don't do it that way. They put up points, but they put up points like running the ball and dink and dunk kind of things. They don't generally do 60-yard bombs. So I again, the Colts D is pretty good. The question is, does Minshew have a terrible game? Because Minshew has those good games, and then he has those terrible games that you go, oh, this is why he's a backup, right? He had a decent game last week to fill in for Richardson. Starting the whole game again, he's got limitations. Like, leave the man in the pocket and make him beat you, and I don't think he can. And I don't think they'll win either. I just think they're gonna cover the spread. So, Minshew magic.
So you don't think they're covering the spread?
I think the Ravens will win by like 7. So they will not score more than 8.
But you're going with
the Ravens.
The Ravens, but not covering.
Correct.
Gotcha. I'm going with Ravens and a cover.
Yeah, and I think Striker's going with Ravens not covering. So there we go.
It's that 8 points, man. I'm telling you.
It's a good line. It's a good line. Well, and again, if you look at the, you look at the look at the games just last week, right? Like how many were one score games? Half, right?
Well, you would think that as long as these Vegas guys have been doing it, they know a little something.
something.
We're not rediscovering the game here, right?
We are not. No, there's nothing that we know that they don't already know. So the Eagles and the Vikings were a one score game. The Packers and Falcons were one score game. So that's 2. 3 Ravens and Bengals. 4 the Seahawks and Lions. 5 the Chargers and Titans. Chiefs and Jags were a one score game. 6 Colts. Rams and Niners are one score game. That's 7. Cards and Giants 8. Commanders and Broncos was 1. 9. Patriots and Broncos or Pats and Dolphins were 1. So 10 one score games.
We are these suckers in the Vegas equation, by the way.
Correct. Okay, so next up, Titans facing the bad luck Browns.
Oh boy. So one team has a running back and the other one kind of has a running back?
They have 2 partial running backs.
Browns defense doesn't look too bad though. I mean, they're an okay unit. Titans on the other side are really, really stout on the run right now, which I think is going to be a big problem for the Browns because
they run.
Unfortunately, the run stops, and then they've got I can't say his nickname right now, but they got Deshaun Brown. Deshaun Watson. My bad. Yeah.
You kind of did say his name. Very good.
But anyways, yeah, man. Like I said, the Titans' defense is just too strong for this team. I think Cleveland Browns are going to be in a down playing without Chubb. They're bringing in Hunt, and they have what's his name, Ford and Spence. I just don't see that being enough against a very, very stout Titans defense on the run, anyways. And I can't see Watson,
lighting it
playing
up.
I just don't. He hasn't yet, and the Titans seem to be really playing good defense on the other side of the ball. All of a sudden, the Titans quarterback became a real quarterback. He's a real boy. He started to win the ball, and obviously, when you got D-Hops over there, it makes a big difference, right? Spread is 3.
While a legitimate wide receiver makes a difference for a quarterback, no way.
So they say. Aaron Rodgers has been telling Green Bay that for years. Nobody listening.
I had Blake Bortles when we had actual legitimate wide receivers, and he looked competent for a year.
There you go.
That kind of looks, look good with Cooper.
Oh, look at Seattle. They're making Geno Smith look like a real quarterback for a while.
DK guy. How bad did DK get hurt? Is he out this week?
Hey, let's ask Calvin.
Yeah, he's not here. He's
on
the floor.
IR. He took an injury. So, long story short, and I'm trying to keep it short-winded today, but I think that the Browns will lose. Titans win and obviously cover, right? They'll win by, they win, period. If they win, they win. So, Titans. Well, they have to cover. Well, no, that's it, right? They win by 1, they win. So,
yeah, that's it.
Titans.
Titans by 1. Everybody's counting you out. You're at home. Browns upset the Titans. Brownies by 7.
Really? You
yeah.
think?
Yep.
With Mr. TT?
Yeah, I think this is the week I'm gonna say it. He comes out, guns blazing. The Titans defense is really bad against the pass. He throws the ball up and down the field, looks like a Hall of Famer for 1 game. Then,
so what you're saying is Deshaun got a nice relaxing massage.
Correct. Yes.
Gotcha.
Above the shoulders.
I don't know. I think Cleveland Browns are letting Deshaun Watson go after this year.
Well, if he continues down the path that he couldn't beat the Steelers. Again, these guys are professionals, right? They have a bunch of emotions. They lost Chubbs. They lost the game, like in Pittsburgh. I'm sure Daniel will tell you that it was the ref's fault, as will a couple other teams. Um, but at the end of the day, they lost the game, and I think they're going to respond heroically this time. And I think Deshaun actually puts on a good game. That's what I think.
Well, that's all great and nice for a Hollywood movie, but this ain't a movie. This is the NFL, and in this one, the Titans' run defense again is just too strong.
Hey, that was
I
a
don't believe in.
movie. That actually
And,
wasn't. But remember, the Titans was actually a movie.
ah,
So
and Deshaun Watson is in Cleveland, where quarterbacks go to die. So let's put all that into consideration. Again, Titans win.
so
King
because I have
Henry.
to pick, uh, I'm doing the Browns by 7,
Huh?
which will cover. Whoa.
I guess we'll see.
Reverse jinx. Let's go.
Yeah.
Okay, our next one we're going to talk about are the Lions hosting the running backs, the Falcons,
Atlanta running backs.
the Atlanta running backs.
Um, man, this is an interesting game, bro. The Lions, again, I'm pretty sure the Egyptian will be back. The Lions don't look bad at all across the board. I think maybe a little weak on defense. The other side of the ball is the Falcons, who look great running, and they've got a defense that's not playing too bad right now. This is a game where you look at it on paper and say, yeah, the Lions should pass all over them. This is going to be a tough one for them. It really is. I don't want to say the Falcons win because that's a little reach with their current quarterback. But it's a tough one. This is really a tough. This is a coin flip for me, to be honest. Any other day, any other team, I might think the Lions win, but the Atlanta Falcons aren't playing too bad. The one thing about a run game and a strong run game is you control the clock, right? So the time of possession is in the Atlanta Falcons' favor, especially running the ball, which the Lions love to score quick, score fast, right? Um, I'm not crazy in saying the Falcons are going to win this one. Ugh, I'm tempted. I really am, just based on their defense, so on and so forth. I'm tempted to, but I think the Lions will bounce back. I think Jared Goff is throwing the ball real well. Even if they lose the Egyptian, they've got a couple other receivers that are really good. They got a great tight end. Who's up there, running back up there? Montgomery now,
Yep.
who's really running solid. So 3 point. I think the Lions will win and cover. To be honest, I think they're the strength of their offense will outmatch what the Falcons have right now. I think the Falcons haven't played like really strong teams right now, so everybody's like, "Oh, the Falcons," but who have they really played, right? So yeah, I'm gonna go with the Lions covering on this one. I think their offensive power is just too much for the Atlanta Falcons.
So the Lions are 4 over the Falcons. So Lions 5.
It's 4. I'm seeing 3 right now.
I do the CBS one. I think there's some small variance, but yeah, CBS says 4. Or said 4 at like 12 o'clock today.
Lions cover, yeah. 5.
5. I'm not a fan of the Falcons. I've said that, but they keep winning. and the Pack is
2
not
weeks.
but the Pack's not a bad team. And the Lions, who did they beat? They beat the world champions on a pick 6 that hit the receiver in the hands. They should have won. And then they went to Seattle where they lost against a team I don't think is very good either. So then you got a banged up wide receiver is pretty good. Your defense hasn't been doing really anything. And you're playing against a team that is the second coming of the 1960s fill in the blank, single wing team. At home in Atlanta. I do think the Falcons win. I thought the Falcons were going to be terrible. I thought people were going to look at them and be like, they can only do one thing. We're going to stop the run. And apparently they're so good at the one thing, no one can stop them. And when you do that 3.5, 4 yards in a cloud of dust, what do? Well, you can't stop it, because what happens is if you stop them in the first quarter, you slow them down, it eventually wears you out, right? Like, you want to hit that running back in the first quarter. In the second quarter, you're like, do I really want to hit him? Not as much. By the fourth quarter, you don't want nothing to do with that guy. So the Falcons are just running and beating teams down, and they don't even need to pass. Now, the flip side of this is the Lions could be one of those teams that puts 21 points up and says, "Come catch up with us." But they've not been doing that. Like their offense looked out of sync against the Chiefs. It definitely looked out of sync on the Seahawks, and the Seahawks had major flaws. Forget it. I said the Falcons were only going to win like 3 games. So Falcons straight up.
I guess we shall see.
Oh, well, I'll probably break the Falcons.
You jinxed them.
Yeah, they'll probably, and my son will hate me because I have cursed them to a.
And I disagree about the Green Bay Packers being a good team. I think I said they would lose their first 5 or 6 games, something like that. Wrong on that.
I mean,
you're
wrong on that.
But so I'm going to come out with 1 win and 4 losses.
Okay, well, maybe.
No, I'm still thinking the Lions beat the Falcons.
The chat says the refs missed a handful of jerseys on the final play. So there's a couple guys that were complaining about that, including an intentional grounding call.
Oh boy.
So next up, just so everybody knows, Striker says Lions by 7.
Nice.
Job,
Strikey.
The Saints and the Packers.
Oh wait, Striker and I are agreeing. I'm screwed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Should have gone with the gut pick.
Is it too late to change it? Yeah. So who are we at? Saints and the Saints?
It's the Saints at Lambeau.
Saints at the Packers, huh? I am not a believer in Mr. Love. I think I already said that more than once.
What did you not like on the performance last week? What was it, 253 touchdowns?
Yeah, he looked good. Don't get me wrong. But who did they play last week?
You had to ask. Now I have to look it up.
I got it.
Who did they play?
Falcons.
Correct. Yeah, but they led the whole game until the last minute.
But they haven't played anybody. Listen, I get it. The Falcons look pretty with a little run game and all that, but they haven't played anybody either. And it's one running back. Algiers was a surprise week 1, and week 2 he didn't really do much. They don't have a running back, Falcons, or quarterback anyways, and they beat the Packers. Nah, I just didn't like it. And of course, Jordan Love had to throw. Aaron Jones got hurt. The only offense you're going to have is him throwing the ball. Now, Christian Watson isn't back yet and all that. That's a pretty good receiver. You
start losing all your weapons, and at some point, every team goes in that, But he didn't. I mean, with what he had, I didn't think he looked bad at all. At the end of the day, the defense couldn't stop the running game.
Yeah, but he didn't. He had 151 yards and 3 touchdowns.
I thought he had 250.
Nah, 151, 3 touchdowns. Yeah. Look, man, Love is sitting there going, "Oh, so this is how Rodgers felt with no weapons." I'm not Aaron. I can't do this. So yeah, I still don't believe the Packers are going to do very well. I just don't. I don't think Jordan Love is the answer. Look at his game. Sure, he threw for 3 touchdowns, but 151 yards? Come on now. Falcons, I just don't see it. And I think the Saints will come in there. Missing Kamara and all that doesn't really matter. They look good. They got Olave, who's an animal. I called it last year. Didn't I tell you all last year that he was going to be a great rookie and he was going to be a star in the NFL?
Yep.
And look at him. He is just him. And I also like Drake.
And I believe I drafted him in a couple leagues because of that. Thank you.
So did I. Drafted him this year too. Yeah. I got to stop talking so much pre-draft. But yeah, it is what it is.
Well, we don't have to agree with you just because you said lots of stuff. I've been like, yeah, I don't think so.
No, but man, and we all do it to each other, right? You may say something that may light my interest. And I'm over here starting to Google on that certain player and look at stats and look at his college play and go, ooh, thanks, Wardy. I'm pretty sure we all bounce off of each other when it comes to stuff like that. But point being here, though, I just don't see Green Bay doing great this season. I just don't. They didn't change anything. What did they change? The quarterback?
Yep.
Who would you rather have, Love or Rodgers, right? So I don't see
right
them
now
very well.
Love.
Yeah. But yeah, I'd
I
rather
think
see
he
my
has
grandma
2
run the ball
Achilles
than
last I
Chubb.
checked. So yes, I will stick with the 153 touchdowns over the sat on the couch and flipped on ESPN.
Wow.
Showed up the Pat McAfee show.
And got paid 35 million.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that part. Either way, I'm still I would think the Saints. They're underdogs in this one, but I think the Saints march into town and beat Jordan Love. I'm going with the Saints.
So the interesting thing to me is you said the Packers hadn't played anybody, which the first game they beat up on the Bears. Second game they lost to the Falcons. Again, I didn't think the Falcons
Who have they played?
which the Falcons are 2-0. So like if you look at records, you go, wow. But if you look at the Saints, who have they played?
Who have the Falcons played?
Oh my God! The Falcons played the Panthers week 1, and then the Packers week 2. So they haven't played anybody either. But my point is, who have the Saints played?
Oh, who have they played?
The Saints played the Titans week 1, which isn't a stellar team, right? And then they beat the Panthers week 2. So they're all playing the same cruddy teams, right?
Yeah, I think the Titans are a step above shitty. My bad. But if you got 3-tier teams, right? Your top tiers, your mid tiers, and your bad ones. The 3-tier, the 3rd tier. I think Titans are in the.
We cannot in the
second
NFL
tier.
have 3 tiers of teams. That's just too. There's like 5.
Okay, 5. I got you. But
So
you know what?
there's your contender, like your Super Bowl contenders, your playoff contenders, your fringe wild card contenders. We're hoping to get the number 1 draft pick, and anything else in between, right? Those are your 5.
I think your Panthers are on the bottom tier, right?
Correct.
They're not going to make the playoffs.
They are number 1 draft pick.
I think Green Bay is in that same tier.
Really?
I really do.
I think they're in the
now even more so without Aaron Jones, who may not.
Oh yeah. We're talking the full team. Well, is he supposed to be out for the year?
No. I hope not.
Yeah, I was like, what?
Wait.
Newsflash: Aaron Jones out for the year. Warthog dumps him in 3 leagues.
Yeah, I have one too. I don't know how long he's out. I know he's hurt. I have to go look it up, to be honest. I thought he was going to be out a couple weeks from what I was reading, if not more.
I figured something like that, but yeah.
But yeah, okay. So neither team has played anybody, so you don't know the real what's up on any of those teams, right?
So if let's just do on fantasy relevance, and this is where I guess the point's going to be made. You'd say Derek Carr, Alove is there, maybe a running back. I don't know. That's the Saints' fantasy relevance versus the Packers have basically at this point nobody because Jones is hurt and Watson's hurt. Yeah. I would say that.
If you just went by fantasy relevance, the Saints have a better relevance.
Yeah.
Olave alone, right?
Correct.
And then Derek Carr isn't throwing the ball too bad. Then the running game, what's his name stepped in? Jones. He looked okay, but they weren't playing anybody big, right? Okay. Kamara coming back is not till week 4. But in this game, fantasy relevance, I do believe that the Saints have a +1 on them. Nobody's stopping Olave, and I don't think that Green Bay has the defense to stop Olave either. Kid just gets open.
Oh.
But now I am curious to see when Aaron Jones comes back.
I just looked, and Stryker also has picked the Packers. So you're going to go with Saints. How much?
Oh, boy. Well, he picked the Packers. Awesome. Yeah, I'm going with the Saints.
Yeah.
Well, the Saints cover regardless if they win.
Yeah, Saints cover regardless.
This time, if you agree with Stryker, you're losing. You already know that.
Yeah, I immediately thought that in my head, but I think that the Packers are going to win. I'm fine. He's right like a couple of times a week. I'm going Packers by 3. You heard it here. Packers by 3.
All they're going to have is A.J. Dillon. He ain't practicing, so we'll see.
I believe Carr is going to do the LASIK turnover shuffle.
New Orleans, where quarterbacks come to get LASIK and still suck.
Exactly.
But, we'll see.
We'll see. My tough luck Jaguars hosting the Texans.
Oh boy.
Yep. And the Jags are favored by 9.
Yeah, that's where they get you though, right?
Yep.
The Jags aren't playing great. I still believe they'll turn around and have a good season. It's early on. I still believe Sunshine will have a breakout season. I still believe. Maybe it's just me being stubborn. I don't know why. I have a really gut feeling and instinct about this, and I still think he has a breakout season. It's coming. However, they're playing the Texans. Texans are a spunky little team. They always are, man. Unfortunately, spunk isn't enough to win in the NFL, and they always lose. However, this is a weird one. I'm going to take the Jaguars with the win, but not the spread. Does that make right? We can do
Yeah,
that.
yep, yep, yep.
They don't cover. They win, but they don't cover. The 9.5 is crazy. I Jaguars are struggling until they get it right, and the Texans. You would think on the team that they're gonna they're gonna demolish and they're gonna look crisp and good. And think again, Texans are playing everybody kind of spunky, but it's spunk is not enough to win, right? And they're not winning. But they will. The Jaguars will win, but definitely not cover. I just don't see it. Not at 9 points or 9.5, whatever they're at. It's a lot. It's again another little number that these Vegas guys get you with, right? The Jaguars win here by 7 points. They win by a late, fourth quarter touchdown that puts them ahead, but the game goes back and forth, and it's the Houston Texans, right? This is an interdivision game.
Correct.
Yeah, it's always a good one. I mean,
Not
the
always,
Jaguars.
not always for It's,
Yeah, not always for the Jaguars.
yeah, exactly. Not always a good one.
The Jags may win by a field goal. Maybe they're going to win, period, but they're not going to cover. That's my pick.
It's at home, which makes you feel better because we tend to not lose to get to the Texans at home. And Texas, that's another story. But this is what I see. We took care of business against the Colts in a sloppy game. But we took care of business and took control. And it was a game. It felt that we were in control the entire time, and the scoreboard just wasn't reflective of that. Right. In the Chiefs game, it felt like we were dominating that game. We had many turnovers. The defense was playing lights out. The Chiefs were really kind of discombobulated. The problem is the offense wasn't in sync. But to me, I think the Chiefs are, again, they're defending Super Bowl champs. The Texans have won like 2 games last year. Like, you're literally talking the top of the scale and the bottom of the scale. And we kept the world champs to 17 points. Like, yes, our offense sputtered, but they sputtered against Chris Jones, not whomever the Texans are out there. I think they're pissed about last week. And if you're any right at all, this is the get well game that you beat the shit out of the Texans. So I'm taking the Jags. I'm taking them to cover. And hopefully I'm not wrong.
You're taking the cover. Ooh, that's a ballsy move. I think 9.5 is a lot for the Jaguars.
It is, right. Especially this early on the season with the offense not looking the way it has. But I saw enough in the Colts game, and honestly, I saw enough in the Chiefs game. There was 4 touchdown passes that literally hit the guys, and they had a foot 3 inches out of bounds. You're talking about 3 inches, and there's 4 more touchdowns on the board. So it wasn't like it wasn't like Sunshine was throwing picks all over the place. It didn't in the red zone. What the stats were like on the opponent starting on the opponent's territory. We had the ball 6 times and came up with 9 points. Right, like you just don't. And even worse, it was something like 5 in the red zone. So we didn't score. That's what it. And they took 4th downs late in the game. Instead of taking the points on the field goals, they took 4th down shots at the end zone. So they probably easily could have had 2 more field goals on the Chiefs. So which still wasn't enough to win, but you get what I'm saying. I don't think the Texans can. I think we're going to run all over the Texans.
Oh, there you go. You
That
heard
checks.
it first. I still think your Jaguars win. They just don't cover.
That's fine. I'll be happy if they win and don't cover.
I know you will.
The Broncos playing in Miami against the Tuas.
Welcome to Miami. This is not a trap game, right? Like you want to look at the Broncos and say, oh yeah, they're looking good. Yeah, there's the Russell we know and love. It's a tough game, man. And I say tough for the Broncos because Russell doesn't look as bad as he looked last year. Let's start with that. He doesn't look great, but he doesn't look as bad. The problem for Russell is there's no real run game in Denver right now. What's the name of the kid they have? Williams something?
Yeah, Javonte Williams, who's hurt.
Oh God, who are they bringing in?
The next
Yeah,
guy.
exactly. There's some trouble in the Mile High City. Man, you want to root for Denver. You do. You know we're still there, and you look at Russell and you see like, man, you want to see this guy succeed, right? You feel bad, right? Not feel bad, but you followed this guy in Seattle, and at the time there was that Russell Wilson mania, and he was looking really good, and everybody talked about his height and how he can move, and at one point he was on top of the world, winning Super Bowls, and then he came to Denver, and it isn't like Peyton Manning's played time in Denver. It's different, man. Russell isn't stepping up to the plate the way you would think he would step up to the plate. They're scoring points. They're moving the ball. They're still doing well, but what's missing in that team, right? Like first off, let's talk about the fact they played the Commandos, right?
Yeah, it's the
Not like they
second.
played
What was missing on this team is the second half. In both games, like they're for whatever reason, the second half I don't know, replaced these 11 starting players with a new 11 starting players from the fan section. But Russell last week went
well.
18 to 32, 308, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick, leading rusher, 56 yards. However, they were up, what, 21 to 3.
Yeah, and they just
And then
Russell collapsed, man. And it was against the Commandos, bro. So, like I said, tough game here, man, because it's still the Broncos. And yes, Russell Wilson looks good. I just think the Dolphins are a better team, and they're not the Washington Commandos. They're going to play Denver a lot better. I think that as Denver starts facing these tougher teams, you're going to see the Russell Wilson we saw last year. You're going to see that offense that sputters. I think the defense will be okay-ish. They're not the same defense either. Just remember that.
yeah, this is that's a surprise for me. Is the defense isn't like if you told me at the beginning of the week last week that the Broncos are going to score 33, I'm like that's a win, right? Well, I think you would have said the same, right? Like if you say that Russell's going to throw 3 touchdowns, and the Broncos are putting 33 on the board, I'm like that's a win.
Oh, the defense should do the rest, and yeah, you would definitely think it's a win.
They did not, and I'm
Against
like
the Commandos.
correct.
I don't know.
Which these guys are track stars, right? The Dolphins, like if you're giving up whatever you gave up to who's the Washington guy?
Howell,
Yeah,
I believe.
Sam Howell. Yeah, if you're giving 300 up to the Howell, you're gonna give up 700 to Tua. Tyreek's gonna have 2,000 yards by himself this game. So
And Robinson. Brian Robinson ran all over the Broncos too. Had 2 touchdowns. Let's not forget that.
Glutimus Maximus, but the Dolphins don't have a running game.
Shot in the buttocks.
Yes.
That guy. Man. Again, not a trap game per se, but the Denver Broncos to me are going to end up disappointing you one way or another, and it's unfortunate. Last year they were a big disappointment, and every time you thought, all right, this is Russell's game, it's not there. Don't let this little spark of, ooh, there's a Russell we know and love. It was the Commandos. It's not going to happen. They're not playing the Commandos this week. They're playing the Miami Dolphins, whose defense is a lot better than the Commandos. Their offense is 10 times better. Like you said, track stars, right? Even though Tua is 1 concussion away from surfing fried somewhere, he's still a good quarterback at this point. He hasn't been hit in the head yet. It's too much. It's too much for the Broncos. That defense isn't what it was. You can't fall asleep for a whole second half because the Dolphins will put up 50 on you. So I'm going to say the Dolphins, and they cover 7 points.
Yeah, so that's the only. This one's too easy, right? This is
Trap.
like So you're saying they're going to win by 8?
7. Oh, what's the spread?
7.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, 8. Well, now hold on now. Yeah, 8. I have 6.5 on my screen, but yeah, you're looking at another one at 7. Yeah, that's a tough one there. Now that changes, right? 6.5, you think they covered by 7, but if the spread is 7, I think they're going to win by 7. That's a
I mean,
tough one.
I honestly feel this game, like, if I look at these two teams, the Dolphins should beat the tar out of the Broncos. And then you say that, and something will happen, and you're like, well, how did that happen? Like, um, I'm just gonna go with this. They cover. They beat by 8 points. That's what I think.
Yeah, I'm with you. Same Z's.
All right.
Although the Dolphins only beat the Patriots by 7. Something to think about. 7.
I feel that Belichick, again, whenever we count him out, like we say this team was supposed to be last place, and while they are, with their record in last place, they hung with the Eagles, they hung with the Dolphins. Like, these are not, like, they're not going quietly into the night, right? They're giving them all they can. I see the Broncos. I just see the Dolphins track stars scoring too easy too often.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, they did have a problem with the Patriots. Next one's going to be
Dolphins.
Chargers Vikes. Chargers at the Vikings. The Chargers are favored by 1. It's a trap.
Chargers. This is another one, right? Madison hasn't been looking too well. The running back. Let's start with that with the Vikings.
And they got Cam Akers.
Is that where he went?
Yep, he went to Minnesota.
Oh boy. I kind of went big on Madison in the sense that I drafted him in probably 2 leagues. I think one of them that we're in together, Monday, I believe I got Madison. He hasn't been producing. Let's start with that. The only real offense there is Diggs and Cousins, right? And the other kid, man, Addison, which I did pick up in a few leagues too. I talked about him preseason also. He's a pretty good receiver as well, and he's been getting a lot of good points in fantasy. So if you look at, I'm going to use the fantasy relevance here because to me it plays. Again, look at the Chargers. They got Mr. I just got paid, and now I'm not playing like a real quarterback anymore.
Well, is he not playing like a real quarterback, or is he just?
I think he's
just
right.
losing.
They have it, yeah, just losing. The running back they have, which I picked up in all my leagues, was it him or the Rams guy? I don't remember anymore. I have to go back and look. Who's the running back? Is it Williams or Kelly?
Who? Which team?
Running back for the Chargers. I don't remember which one it was. I have to look.
The Chargers running backs is Kelly.
Oh, he's not doing great either. So Williams, the guy from the Rams, is a great pickup. He's tearing it up. Kyron Williams, but yeah. Well, they traded away Akers, you said, correct?
The Rams traded away Akers.
The Rams and Minnesota got him.
Correct.
I really don't know why they would trade away Akers, but anyways, Madison hasn't been doing great. I'm all confused. Sorry about that. So Madison's been kind of dropping the ball there, right? We all thought he would be okay, considering when he fielded for Cooks, he tore it up. That hasn't happened yet. The receiving core is still outstanding, still great. Defense, mid, right? If you put them in those tiers, I would say they're mid tier for now. Chargers, again, their quarterback is not questionable, but he's been okay, right? The receiving core has been all right.
534 yards, 3 touchdowns, 67% completion percentage.
In 2 games.
In 2 games. 102 rating.
What did he do last week?
3 something.
Most of that came in the game. I got you.
Well, it's 3 something and 2 something, right?
And yeah, I guess the running back had a really good week 1, and then week 2 again they played that stout Titans defense, which can make any running back look bad.
Yeah, so last week against the Titans, he went 27, 41, 305, 2 TDs, no picks.
Yeah. And the running back, let's see here.
Riley got 39 yards.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's again Titans run defense.
Or Kelly, not Riley. Kelly.
They're going to be really good. Again, I don't know if the Vikings run defense is as good as the Titans run defense. I think obviously, their quarterback Herbert is obviously just got paid. Great quarterback. They're going to move the ball. This one's going to be, in my opinion, a shootout. I don't think it's a dominating game from any one team. I think both these teams' offenses can score against any defense, and they're going to go back and forth. I don't believe that either one has a great running game. I don't know that Akers helps Minnesota right off the bat.
Nah.
So this is going to be an interesting game. That's why it's a 1 point thing. It's really a coin flip here, man. Really, this is the one you could just choose the one you really think is going to win, and the spread be damned right because it's only a point. Um, Tough one, man. It really is. It's still a coin flip. Either team could be. They're kind of a evenly matched team if you look at it, in my opinion. Both have good receiving cores. Both have an adequate quarterback that are probably pretty much in the same tier, Cousins and Herbert. Um, what it comes down to is probably defenses, right? Whose defense can stop the other one more? And at this point, I don't know that any defense will stop anybody. It will be a shootout. In the end, that's a tough one, right?
Yeah.
You want to go for Herbert, right? Because I like the kid, great quarterback. I just don't believe in their run game big time. I'm hanging on to Kelly for one more week to see what's up because again, they did play the Titans defense. He did have a great week one. Let's see what he does week two. Eckler is still out another week, so we'll see. If Eckler does somehow play this week, wow, it could turn the tide for the Chargers. Tough one, man. With Madison running the way he is, and if it's all based on pass game, I think the Chargers win this one. I'm gonna go with the Chargers.
So they're both 0-2.
Yes.
So someone's gonna come out of this game. Well, barring an 0-2-1 finish, someone's coming out of this game 0-3. The Falcons' horseshoe firmly got removed. Like they were what 11-0 last year in one score games. Now they're 0-2. So the Chargers just don't look in sync. I feel the Vikes are a better team. Like I do. I think Jefferson and Addison are a better combo than Allen and Williams. The tight end is better by far than the Chargers tight end. The running back's better. Like I think their defense is even better. So and they're at home and they're not favored. So and while it's only a point, like there's nothing like when you missed all the boxes. Like why should I pick you? Now with that being said, it's Kirk freaking Cousins, and he'll do something stupid. I'll be like, that's why. But at home on paper, Vikes for me.
It's tough. It's tough to choose this game considering how well Kirk Cousins played against Philly. He did a good job. He had, I don't know, 4 touchdowns and a whole bunch of yards, and he played it really well. And you're right. If you took the top two receivers, let's do fantasy relevance. Let's bust it out.
Well,
Cousins
but it's
and
not
Herbert.
fantasy relevance, right? Because I think they're equally fantasy. You would
Correct.
maybe not the running back. That's the tight end. That's the difference, right?
Maybe. I think that if you look at receivers, honestly, look at Allen and Williams, the top two supposedly receivers for the Chargers. And then on the other side, you got Jefferson right,
Jefferson Addison, yeah, and I
I'd
think
give the
you
nod to the Vikings on the receiving.
correct. You would take Jefferson over Allen or Williams, and then I would think you would take Addison either in between or below those two.
Man, he's looking really good. As well, then again, he's the number two in a passing offense, so they've had to pass because Madison ain't doing anything.
Yeah.
So, man, honestly, it could go Vikings also, but I'm a dummy and I like to bet on my gut. I'm going with Herbert and the Chargers.
Just I think something to be said about being at home, and the fact that the spread's being disrespectful. So I think, and again, as soon as I say that, Cousins will have one of his Cousins games.
That's all. At least I'm hoping.
Yeah. So you're going Chargers by 2.
Does who's favored? Yeah,
Chargers by 1.
Chargers by field goal.
All right. Next up, we got the Patriots playing the Jets. Jets.
They do have Dicker the Kicker Chargers. Just had to say that before we moved on.
Oh, I appreciate that.
No problem. Uncle Rico's team, huh? Oh boy.
How's Uncle Rico doing?
He's sad.
He's sad.
Well, I mean, he really thought Super Bowl with Rodgers. He really did. I mean, you should have heard it. And I can't like mimic him because I sound super racist because of the way he talks. But I'm Hispanic, so I kind of can. But yeah, oh boy. Here's the problem with Uncle Rico. He's for some reason rooting for the Jets, but he is a Cowboys fan as well. So according to him, his heart was torn. His heart was torn. That's what he said. And not and that and a few other twist words that we obviously can't use in the broadcast. So not gonna say them. But he was pretty disappointed. It was bad. It was pretty bad. It was very bad. So Uncle Rico's back down to 0 and starting over. So here we go, week 3, and another $1,000 according to him. And I don't not believe him. The guy's got the money, but I don't know, man. I've never seen him make the bets, right? I've seen stubs sometimes, right?
Yeah.
When I've been around him, but he says he's betting it. I gotta take him for his word. He's crazy, dude. And he had an oil field accident. The guy's got money, right? That and his other investments, which we're not gonna get into, because they may or may not be legal. But allegedly,
yes.
Allegedly, that's still not in there.
We've already got the former Cowboys quarterback story on the podcast, so we might as well just get completely lawsuit crazy here.
So this one for me, honestly, not necessarily a toss-up, right? If they still had Aaron Rodgers, would it be different? Would it? Possibly. Better, smarter quarterback? Yeah, maybe. But they don't. They're stuck with Wilson. They're going against the Patriots and Belichick. This is a game that, and look, the Patriots are favored, right? The Jets don't look bad either, though, man. They got back the running back, right?
Brees Hall.
Yeah. Brees, whatever. What do you do against the Cowboys?
The Pats are favored by 2.
By 2. How did Brees Hall do against Cowboys? Not good. 4 carries, 9 yards. Oof, those Cowboys, dude. I gotta say it. Knowing that I'm a Cowboys fan, and you heard the Cowboys look phenomenal on defense. They're going to be tough. That's for sure.
You looked tough last year. We've already talked about this. This is your problem is you don't need to prove
Dakota?
you don't need to prove anyone anything, right? Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
You don't need to prove that your defense is elite. And Stephen A. Smith says this. You don't. You've had an elite defense. You've had it for a couple years now. What you have to prove is Dak Prescott or Dakota Prescott going to show up in the playoff game and give away the game? Or is he going to be able to win it in crunch time? That's what you need to take the next step. You're going to get to the playoffs. You're probably going to finish first or second in the NFC East. You're going to have a great record. Do you have hit the quarterback that will take you to the next step out of the divisional round into the championship round, so on and so forth?
You already know my answer to that.
I do. I hope you're wrong. I'd like to see Dakota.
I hope
be like, yo, I got this. And I don't buy into that. There's winners and losers. I think that there are quarterbacks that are great quarterbacks, right? Obviously, you got Brady and a lot of examples of quarterbacks that are great. But I think a lot of quarterbacks, like you look at Rodgers. How many Super Bowls does Rodgers win? What, 2? He went to a lot of championship games, but they don't look at him in the same way and say you're a choker. Where you look at Marino and he had one decent team that he got to a Super Bowl and he drug a bunch of bad teams with no running game, to the playoffs every year to get beaten down by some other team, So, or you looked at Elway. Elway was a choker for the first decade of his career because he went to the Super Bowls and the Broncos got the tar beat down. Then he got Terrell Davis and suddenly he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. So I don't know that there's this choking thing in quarterbacks. I think quarterbacks, some of them do make mistakes at bad times, but I don't I don't think Dakota's that guy. I think he is a average quarterback or above average quarterback that's doing the best that he can. So if he plays against a Patrick Mahomes, I think Patrick Mahomes is going to beat him because he's got superior talent. That's how I think. Thoughts?
I don't think that you're wrong. Look, the thing about Dakota, and you're right, right? These quarterbacks that shine and choke in big moments, Tony Romo, so on and so forth. Most good quarterbacks have maybe a Super Bowl or two, sometimes three under their belt. They don't all have the Bradyus, right?
Yeah.
You look at all your quarterbacks. Who else other than Brady had, a ton of Super Bowls?
Montana.
You're right.
That's it.
Oh, okay, but they're in a whole different tier, right?
Correct. Yeah.
And you're right, man. You're right. And I hope I'm 100% wrong on Dakota, 100%, because I'm a Cowboys fan. You know that. And I would love for Dakota to prove me wrong. Either way, if he proves me wrong, Cowboys win the Super Bowl. I'm still a Cowboys fan, so as much trash as I talked about Dakota, it's still a win for me. Um, I just don't see it, man. I don't. He reminds me so much of Tony Romo, man. And we're Cowboy fans. We're so used to it, right? We're used to that. We do great and get heartbroken, right? It happens. But he reminds me so much of Tony Romo. He doesn't make good decisions in tight spots, right? When the pressure is on, he just doesn't pull through. The big pressure. We're not talking about fourth quarter drive for a touchdown. We're not. We're not. We're talking about the big moment in a big game, in a big playoff game that makes all the difference in the world. He's let us down, and he will continue. And I hope not. I would love to see a change, but I don't believe it. I
Fourth
just don't
fourth
believe it.
round pick, undrafted quarterback. That's what you're comparing that to like Troy Aikman, who was what the number one pick.
Yeah. But how many instances of that do you have though? Think about it. So okay, Brady is the perfect example, right? And everybody that based on that. Okay,
Oh, that's the one in a billion example,
one in a
right?
million,
Yeah.
correct?
Which the only other one is apparently the 49ers got the magical contract of doom with the devil and got the Mr. Irrelevant to be a competent quarterback.
Oh, yeah, but for now, Tony Romo replaced Bledsoe, and Tony Romo was, I don't even think was he undrafted or not? I don't know,
He was
but
undrafted, yeah.
so and he came in and shined for a few seasons. And, oh, Tony Romo, we're gonna win Super Bowls. Purdy hasn't proven anything to me. He hasn't proven anything to anyone. He's still look, man. When you're Mr. Irrelevant, it's for a reason. The NFL is more right than they are wrong on quarterbacks they're not drafting, and that's the truth. But there are stories, your Kurt Warners and your Brady, and there's examples, sure. But how many quarterbacks? I mean, you have what, 32 teams? Is that what it is?
Yep.
How many quarterbacks rotate through the NFL
Oh,
that
oh,
we don't even know their names?
got you one better. Do you know how many starting quarterbacks aren't first round picks? There's only like 6,
There you go.
and Dak's one of them.
But
There's a reason.
it's not
There's a
common.
reason those guys went in the first round and Dak went in the fourth, and the reason is those guys fit all the prototype check boxes. I'm 6'6". I'm built like a Greek goddess. I've got an arm like a lightning bolt, right? Like they have this checklist. If you don't fit in there, you have a defect, right? Like I'm shorter. I'm the little people in Arizona. I can't see over my offensive line. Like there's a problem. So,
Yeah,
but
but
this is
those
the Jets and the
checklists work.
Patriots. So,
Hey, but those checklists work, right? More often than not, they're right with their
oh,
checklists.
your running back's a perfect example. Your running back may look great in the preseason. How is he going to hold up in 17 games with 400-pound men beating him to the turf?
Dallas as an example, right? Deuce
Yep.
Vaughn.
Yep.
Everybody was so excited about him in the preseason. And what did I say? Hell no, he's too small.
Yep.
He will look, man. Small running, but they do happen, right? We've seen him spurl stuff like that, unique situations. But you can't put Deuce Vaughn on there and get him killed by a 300-pound lineman that can run 4.4. Like
Well, even worse is not
350
getting him
pound
killed,
lineman.
but getting your quarterback killed, right?
Correct. He can't block. He can't. Yeah. But anyways, you're right. It's the Patriots and the Jets.
But that was a fascinating talk about the Cowboys.
Well, it was more about quarterbacks, but yeah, it all boiled down to Dakota sucks. Um, So back to this game, man. I want to root for the Jets. I don't think so. I think the Patriots are the underdog, and I think the Patriots take this game. They'll win. Doesn't matter what they win by. They'll
It
win.
doesn't. I'm same. I don't. There's the look of what is it? Celia, what's his name?
Yeah.
That said it
Guy with
all.
glasses.
That when Aaron Rodgers went down, like, oh God, who's my backup quarterback? Like, is Wilson still on the team? Did I cut him in training camp? Like, I can't remember. So yeah, he was not a fan. So Patriots by 3.
There you go.
Although, and I think it's going to be just like the Cowboys game. The Jets defense can't save that many turnovers, right? So.
Huh?
All right. The next
Buddy in your
game.
channel was kicked from the server.
Bye, buddy.
Bye, user.
The next game is going to be the Bills going to the Commandos.
Oh boy. I'm not gonna go long on
Buddy
this one.
joined your channel.
The Commandos' defense is not all that, and we know that. The Bills are who they are. Look,
They're
I'll tell
hangry.
you what, man. Hey, Cook started running that ball, bro. Look at his last game. Finally, right? I take a chance on him in the draft.
Yeah,
I
you're like
liked
a
him
year and a
last
half
year.
early.
When I drafted, well, I was just hedging my bets. Let me get all the Bills running backs. One of them's got to be good. But yeah, I did draft him early last year. I did get him this year too, though. And last week he paid off nicely. He looked great. I do believe that the Bills. There's not a lot of time to spend this. The Commandos are who they are. They're not going to be great. Don't let the game against who was it, Denver or whatever,
Correct.
fool you. Denver isn't looking great either. So I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills on this one. I think they come out. Six. What's the spread? I see 6.5.
It's 6.5 on the Bills.
Yeah, they easily win this, by 7 points if you want to put it that way. So I'm going with the Bills covering.
What did you? Are the Commanders just a plunky team? I mean, they've got bit pieces, right? Like if you talking about fantasy relevance, they're up there in fantasy relevance, right? They've got a running back or two that are relevant. They've got a wide receiver. Now the problem is they're not the same player every game, right?
The receiving core is a wheel, right? Like it's not the same receiver. The running game is Robinson. Gibson hasn't really shown up. It's all Robinson, to be honest. But that's really all they have. I wouldn't draft Howell. And honestly, out of their receivers, who are you picking? You would be, if you pick one, you could pick what is his name, McLaurin, or whatever his name is. 1 week, and he's not the guy, and the next week it's another guy. That why that is, because their quarterback isn't gelling with the receivers. And you would think, oh, that's good. He spreads the ball around. Is it though? Like if you can't have any consistency with your receivers, there's a problem in my opinion.
Is it that, or I mean, Mahomes threw to like 11 guys last week. Is it?
But Mahomes has no receivers.
He's got one. He's a tight end.
Think about that though. But listen, he doesn't have receivers. You're right. He has a tight end. So Mahomes has no choice but to make plays happen and spread it around. When look at the Vikings. They have 2 receivers they pass to. He ain't passing around 11 guys, right? Because he's got 2 great receivers that find a way to get open. Washington, or Chiefs spread around the 11 guys because he doesn't have them. He's throwing to whoever's lucky enough to get. Hey, there he is, because he's so talented he can find it, right?
I guess I'm just used to having a good enough wide receiver. So I guess it's different when you have a Randy Moss, where you're just like, oh, if I throw the ball up in the general direction, Moss is going to come down with it no matter what's going on. But what I'm seeing now in quarterback play is I'm seeing a bunch of people forcing. I've seen balls get thrown into, like Josh Allen did it week 1. They're triple covered.
Oh, yeah,
like what are you doing? But I got to get it into this guy. But Mahomes, what he does is takes what is given to him, and I see the same thing with Howell. Right? He's not going, I must throw to this guy. And granted, I don't know the receivers of the Redskins are, that kind of caliber that you would go, it's number 1. That he's a definite number 1. Like they don't have a Jefferson or anyone of that caliber. So, but I don't think it's a bad thing if you're spreading the ball around. I don't. It definitely keeps your defense off kilter, right? So, I mean, the problem is the Bills after week one, which was just an aberration. They're the Bills, right? They've got weapons. Josh Allen's a good quarterback. Um, the only problem I have with this game is that it's at home, and 6 points is still a lot. And the Commanders team looks like they're they're one of those plunky teams that's going to hang in there. So I agree the Bills are going to win. What I'm struggling is how much do you think they're going to win by 7?
I do believe they cover, yes. I do believe they cover.
I'm going to say they don't.
The Commandos have given up a lot of points to teams like Denver, right? I don't see the Buffalo Bills offense slowing down. I don't see the Commandos keeping the Buffalo Bills from scoring big. I also don't think they have the same defense as the Jets. Again, I just think Buffalo covers, not just based on the fact that it's Buffalo, right?
Yeah.
The weapons that Buffalo has will, in my opinion, way better than Denver. And if Denver can put up 35 or whatever they put up on Commandos, so can the Bills. And the Bills' defense is a step better on defense than what you have in Denver. So yeah, Bills cover. I think the Bills cover by a couple touchdowns, but I'm going to go with that 7 and keep it nice and kosher.
I'm going to do the Bills don't cover. Bills 3.
Ooh, really? Oh, there's one for me.
That might be. Again, how many games did we say were one-score games?
Yeah. And you're not wrong, man. But Bills by 7 is a one-score game.
That's true. That is true as well.
I mean, the only ones you're really seeing, like the Giants, San Fran, and the Texans, Jaguars is a weird one. And we have a couple of them coming up right now here soon, so we'll wait till that.
Next up is going to be the Seahawks and the Panthers. Panthers at Seattle.
All you gotta say here is poor kid. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know exactly what I'm talking about,
Mm-hmm.
right? Oh boy, oh boy, lining up in the wrong spot. He's behind the guard. Like, oh man, he's having a rough. He's a rookie, but he's having a rough go of it, man. And this ain't gonna be any different for him. It's going to be a tough game for him. I think he's one of those rooks that's gonna have a horrible first year. I really do.
I mean, Manning had a horrible first year, and it didn't affect him. But yeah, I think he's headed to a very bad first year.
I do too, man. Shit, hold on. Trying to click on the game and it's popping off.
No, you're fine.
Sorry, technical difficulties.
This one's easy for me. The Seahawks are going to win this one, even though I'm not a fan of Geno. And they're going to cover.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Bryce Young he's 299, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks in 2 games. Just remember that. The running game isn't looking very solid. There's a lot.
Hubba Chubba?
When your top receiver is the old man Thielen, you've got a problem.
Yeah.
I think Bryce Young is a little overwhelmed right now. I don't see that changing. I think it's going to be a very big learning season for any rookie quarterback, right? But he's having a rough go of it, man. He really is. I don't think the Panthers put enough they have veterans, but enough good weapons, anyways, around him. Yeah, getting Miles Sanders, not going to cut it. Receivers, like I said, his top receiver stealing. Like, how is that helping him?
Yeah, they've got average bit pieces.
They have one receiver. I believe it's them, right? Mingo, the rookie. He's with the Panthers. That kid, watch out next year. If Bryce Young can step it up, but eventually that kid's gonna have he's a specimen, bro. He's gonna have a good season here or there. He'll come out eventually. It's just not happening this season. Seahawks, on the other hand, Geno, the pizza maker, he's gonna tear it up. The running back in Seattle, they're kind of iffy. They did lose a receiver, right? Somebody got hurt. Was it Metcalf?
Yeah, that was Metcalf.
Lockett's good to step up in it, man. I think he'll be fine. I think that
Lockett got like 3 touchdowns last week.
Yeah. The big difference here, though, could be defense, right? Panthers D isn't phenomenal, but they're not horrible either, right? This game could be a trap, bro. I know we want to say Seattle, 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 but for
Oh,
me,
I'm
anyway,
not a Seattle fan, but the Carolinas show nothing to indicate that they're a threat at this time. I mean, they haven't. He looks like a rookie. Gino, for all his flaws that I think he has, he's a competent enough quarterback to beat this team, especially at home. They're ravenous at home, right? So, yeah, I think Seattle's going to cover this pretty easy, and you do too. Because let's face it, fantasy relevance. Who do they have? No one.
correct. Yeah, I'm definitely going with Seattle and covering 7 points. I just think that defense, man, could be that. That's the only thing that has me wondering, like. But yeah, Bryce Young, man, he's gonna have a really rough go of it. He really is. It's gonna be a horrible season for him. I think next year he comes back sophomore a little bit better. But you're right, Seattle covers this 7 point win.
All right, next up is going to be the Cowboys beating the tar out of the Cardinals. The question is, can they beat them enough to cover the spread, which is 12.5?
This is one of those, right?
Yeah.
The next one is too. But yeah, 12.5, like, oof, right? Not not trapped because man, the way they beat on the Giants, the way they beat on the Jets, you don't see the Cardinals doing anything that's going to be anything different, right?
You don't see them doing anything.
Well, after the
Thank
first
you.
half, I don't see anything. Like they might show up in the first half.
Well, I mean,
They
let's look at it
won't.
though. Quarterback situation isn't good. Running back situation, Connor's not bad, but against the Dallas defense,
He wasn't bad a
the-
decade ago, right?
he's still, man, Connor still got something in the tank, bro. He's not bad, but the Cowboys defense is
But
the
it's
Cowboys
it's
defense.
water.
Jesus. He's running on corn,
It's complete ethanol.
biofuel.
Biofuel.
Again though,
It's 100% degradable, man.
yeah.
Um,
There's
can I,
nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I interject something real quick? Stryker wants you to know that he does not agree that the Seahawks will win this week. That's all. Carry on.
Well,
Hey,
he put
is
his
he
pick
here?
that he would. He's
Yeah,
on.
Stryker.
He's on. Yeah, he's on meds. Like, let's just leave him alone.
Yeah. Okay, Striker. Oh, buddy, I think they win. But anyways, we're past that one. We're talking about my crappy Cowboys now. Give me a minute. However, the defense is way too much for this Cardinal team. 12.5, it's a big one, right? And you want to say Cowboys is not covered, but I don't see it. The way they beat the Giants, the way they beat the Jets, the Cardinals are not the team that slows them down this week. I think that the Cowboys win and cover on this one.
Cowboys winning. Man, it's 12 points. Like, this is one of those lines that Vegas knows what they're doing, right, man? So Stryker says no. You say they're going to win by 13.
I think they win by 20, but yeah, we'll get it at 13.
That's a lot of points.
Who do they have?
It doesn't matter. I mean,
Matters.
what'd you win the last game by? Last week, 20 to, it was 30 to 10?
Yeah, 20 points. Exactly. Are you telling me the Cardinals have a better offense than the Jets?
No.
Dobbs? Come on, Dobbs.
No.
360 and a touchdown. Connor is 37 attempts, 168 and a touchdown.
I'm not. I'm one Dakota pick six interception away from not covering.
Look, man,
it's
Dakota
close.
can throw 2 interceptions, and the defense still going to score 30 for him. So Dobbs is going to throw some picks. I guarantee on this one. Fumbles are coming.
I'm gonna go Cowboys cover because I've been a fan, but
You
that
can
is
say not cover.
that is a lot of points.
So don't go with the cover.
Nah, I think they
I'll
actually.
take the win.
I think they will. It's just it's one of those you're like, man, that's a lot of points. So, yeah. So Stryker says no, and when I bet against Stryker, I generally do well.
Well, based on records, we all do.
Be correct. So just look what Stryker picks and pick an opposite. Next one, the Chiefs at the Bears.
Another one,
The
right?
problem is the Chiefs are favored by 12.5.
This one, believe it or not, I'm pumping the brakes on the cover.
No, I'm the same way.
This is a tough. Like Cowboys have been blowing everybody out. Chiefs,
They have not. They lost the
they're
first game.
struggling.
They won a 17-9 game.
Yeah,
And let me
and
tell
yeah,
you, Kelsey's not right.
I think he's playing injured.
Yeah.
To be honest,
Really,
you can
really
kinda
injured.
see it.
Not like a little injured, like, oh, my leg is really stiff and swollen.
I think they need to let him sit a couple weeks. To be honest, I think that's your best bet. They're not going to because they saw what they didn't have without him.
Mm-hmm.
They literally had no offense. Everyone Pacheco, nope. Sky Moore, nope. I mean, if they want to repeat, they better figure something out because man, they are
Well,
horrible.
I didn't think that Juju and who was the other guy that left? Whoever he was, I didn't think they were that. I mean, I didn't think they're not doing that great where they're at now, but they're better than what they got now.
I mean, they have no name receivers. Sky Moore actually did okay last game,
Correct.
and you want to think, oh, it's the Bears. Look, here's the difference here. Justin Fields, right? He's got 427, 2 touchdowns, 60% completion rating, 3 interceptions, by the way. But he's got 13 attempts, 62 yards, and a touchdown. If he starts running more and controlling the clock, it's going to slow everything down to the point where the Chiefs will throw a pass here or there to Kels, who again is not the same Kels. He's not getting open like he was before, and when he does, he is definitely not getting a lot of yards after catch. There is a problem in Kansas City. There really is. They're 1-1 for a reason. 12.5. I'm not saying the Bears win by any stretch. I think the Chiefs win, but I think they have a 10-point win. I'm going with the Chiefs and no cover.
Yeah, I'm. So we're all gonna. Man,
Don't let that striker pick sway you.
that's totally gonna.
He was right 5 times last week, wasn't he?
No, it was only 3.
Oh boy. Well, this could be one of them.
Yeah, against the spread, he was only 3-12.
I just can't. I can't. I just don't see it. I don't think they have enough offense and defense to win, especially against the Bears. I just don't see a 20-point win or a 14-point win or whatever.
The problem is I see the Bears being bad. Like I see the same exact thing you do. The Bears are bad. They're bad. They're bad. They're bad. But Justin Fields, if he starts being scramble back, that could be problems. Like,
somebody's telling Justin Fields, just go back to where you played last year. We want to win a few games.
I go Chiefs 13. They cover, and they beat the hapless Bears.
You went with a cover?
I went with a cover.
Ooh. I guess we'll find out, right? We've been pretty good lately, so
they could stink. What you said could totally happen. Like no one's open, but I just think the Bears are bad, like really bad. They look like they're one of the worst teams in the league. So, if they won't cure your ills, ain't nothing gonna do it. Steelers at the Raiders.
the Raiders.
Plucky Pittsburgh team.
Steelers defensively, yes. Offensively,
No.
Defensive man, TJ Watt is an animal. He's a beast, bro. He's a beast. And they've got other guys out there. They got leg breaker. Sorry, Chubb. Man, they're a good defense. Let's start with that. Raiders, not a bad offense either, man. They're not like. I don't know if there's a big difference between last year's Raiders and this year's Raiders, like Carr and Garoppolo. I can't say that there's a huge difference as far as production. Can you?
No.
I mean, it kind of look the same. Let me pull it up. I like looking at the stats. just slow on the stats since Calvin really isn't here.
Calvin really is in a fetal position right now.
Pickett's got 454, 2 touchdowns, 3 picks. Never a good thing. The run game is non-existent, 100% non-existent.
That's what the biggest problem is.
And I believe I said Najee Harris wasn't going to be great. I don't see it. He's not. I think Warren eventually will take over the lead spot. He's just not looking good right now.
I don't know how he ever got the yardage he got like 3 years ago.
Who knows, man? But defensively, I think the Steelers look pretty solid. Their stats on it don't show it, but they're as a unit, they're getting better and will continue to get better week in and week out. On the other side of the ball, though, you got Garoppolo with 385, 3 touchdowns, 3 picks, but he has a 72% completion rating. That's not bad at all. That's pretty high for a quarterback, to be honest. Josh Jacobs just I wish you had drafted him. Let's say that. He looks horrible right now. I isn't he on a tag?
Yeah, but he's also one of those backs that starts slow. He did last year too.
So. I mean, I ain't gonna cut the guy, right? I'm waiting, but ugh. The pass game, you got Devontae, right? You got Myers came over from New England. Not a bad combo. The receivers are there. Garoppolo isn't doing bad. He's hitting his receivers. The yardage there. The picks, though, could be a little bit down or could be less, but it is what it is. That said,
in a 38-10 loss, though, he only threw the ball 34 times.
That's not bad for a quarterback.
No, what I'm saying is
behind that much, you would think you would have thrown 50 times.
Correct.
Overall, I think the Steelers' defense is really getting better. I think the Raiders' offense, without a real run game, is not going to click the way we think they're going to click. What's the spread here?
What? Steelers by uno.
I'm going to go Steelers in the cover, man. Believe it or not. Even though their offense is just as it's a game. It's a battle between a good defense and an offense that's mediocre. And I would both offenses to me are mediocre. I just think that the defense on the Pittsburgh Steelers side is way better, and I'm going to go with the Steelers. They cover because they're underdogs. So Steelers.
It's in Vegas, where they know how to pick odds. So Steelers by what, 3? Hello.
What was that?
The Steelers by 3?
Yeah. Sure. I mean, what's the spread?
The Steelers by 1.
I mean, Steelers by 2?
I don't care. I go Garoppolo as a winner, and the Bills just had a field day. The game got away quick in the second half. It was close, and then it wasn't. So it was 21-10 at halftime. But man, I mean, I go with the Raiders. I think the Raiders are better than the Steelers.
Really?
Yep.
What a striker pick, because
unfortunately the Raiders.
That decides it all.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Another win for me.
So Raiders by this is one. I mean, and I would stay away from this game. Picking it would no way pick this game in any shape or form.
Definitely another one we won't bet on.
Correct. Now, next up, you got the Eagles and the Bucks, and the Eagles are favored by 6. And I asked week 1. I said, "Is there any chance Baker Mayfield?" And everybody was like, "No." Do we still think that?
Look, you heard the song with the real Slim Shady, please stand up.
With a real Baker Mayfield.
Yes. We're waiting for it. Don't think it ain't coming, because it'll be there.
I'm just saying, old boy, you got to give credit where credit's due, right? Old boy has looked good the first few weeks.
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
the first 2 weeks, Kurt, which is what a few is. But
Who have
yes.
they played? I mean, he's done 490, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Okay. Run game, mid.
There's no run game. Let's not.
Everybody is kicking themselves in the behind for not picking up Mike Evans because we were in a couple drafts together.
Not
and
me.
he slid.
I'm happy I got him.
Yeah, but what round did you get him in? Because you didn't get him.
I got him late.
Yep. A big time payout for a late pick, but that's my point. Everybody's kicking themselves for letting it fly, including myself, because I saw him a few rounds. I was like, man, should I pick him up? And I was like, man, Baker, nah. He's just not going to be good. Evans is disgruntled. It's just not, and all this and all that.
So the
And
Vikes and the Bears, that's who they played.
Bears, okay. Easy, right? Vikes, solid win for Baker. Fine. I'm going to give him a 1-1 there. Because the Bears, come on, that's a gimme right now. The Vikes will give it to him. Not a bad game. But then again, back to the fact that Baker's good for, he's good for 3 or 4 games across the season. So he started off strong. One was against the Bears, the other one against the Vikes. I just think that the real Baker Mayfield will stand up soon enough. And then we'll be like, oh, that's why nobody wanted him. Look, man, he may have escaped from Cleveland, but that's where quarterbacks go to die. And he may escape, but he's like what's that show called?
The Great Escape? I don't know.
No, the one with zombies and stuff.
The what?
The one with zombies and stuff. Oh, my God.
Oh, The Walking Dead?
The Walking Dead. There you go. Baker Mayfield is The Walking Dead, buddy. Eventually he will get, show his zombie colors and get booted in the behind. He'll come out eventually. And maybe I'm wrong. I ain't no genius at this stuff. I'm going to go with history on my side. The true Baker Mayfield comes out eventually. This game, I think the Philadelphia Eagles expose that and tear him up. So I'm going to go, well, hold on. Let's look at the spread first.
8.
Oh, yeah. I'll take Philly by a touchdown. 8.5?
8.5.
Man, I'm looking at this here, the Vegas odds. They're at 5.
Oh, I'm sorry. 6.5. 6.5. Sorry.
All right, cool. 6.5. Yes, I will tell. I was at 8.5. I think the Eagles will win. I honestly think they'll win by 10, but I'm going to go with the Eagles by 7. And the offense is too much. The Eagles is hard to stop right now.
So Eagles by 7.
Gee.
Well, Baker shocks the world. The Bucks win. Bucks win. Bucks win. I think he does. I don't know why. I just do. Plucky little Bucks team. Think they take the Eagles. So.
Okay. Well, you better hope they. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're saying they win. If they win, they cover. But if they win, yeah. Well, either way.
So if the Eagles score less than 6 points, I win.
Well, no. Hold on.
Yeah, that's how that works.
But you're saying Tampa Bay wins, right?
I'm saying Tampa Bay wins on the straight up.
Right.
So I would lose that one. But by picking Tampa Bay, I've got them all the way up until 6.5 points.
Mm-hmm. Well, against the spread, yeah.
Yeah.
I got you. I'm still going with the Eagles by 7.
It's probably the better bet.
Yeah. Oh, boy. The next one.
The Bengals at the Rams. Joe don't look right.
No, we don't. Joe looks. Did I show you that picture of Goat Boy? Everybody know who Goat Boy is? I think Joe's showing his true Goat Boy colors right now. Oh my God. I don't know what's going on in Cincinnati.
Well, and when you said you were thinking about drafting Sunshine over Baker, I was like, I wouldn't. And I stuck. I mean, I still stick to that. I did not think he would have. If you told me that he was having a great year, I'd have been like happy. But he's having a terrible year.
So far, 2 games in, yes. Now, is it the O-line? What is it?
Is it the ankle?
Hard
Yeah.
to tell. It's hard to tell right now.
Well,
Yeah,
he got it hurt again too, right?
And the thing is, he's got a running back. He's got great receivers. I don't know, man. It's hard to put my finger on what's going on with Joe Burrow. No, I'm just glad I didn't draft him anywhere. The Rams on the other side. Hey, Mr. Sweet Pickles retirement boss is telling me, hey, not yet, big boy. You don't want to retire, and he's looking good. He really is. If you don't want to retire, and he's looking good, he really is. If you don't want to retire, and he's looking good, he really is. If you don't want to retire, and he's looking good, he really is. If you don't want to retire, and he's looking good, he really is. If you don't want to retire, and he's looking good, he really is. If you don't want to retire, and he's looking good, he really is. If you don't want to retire, and he's looking good, he really is. If you don't want to retire, and he's looking good, he really is. If you don't want to retire, and he's looking good, he really is. If you don't want to retire, and he's looking good, he really is. If you don't want to retire, and he's looking good, he really is. If you don't want to retire, and he's looking good, he really is. If you don't want to retire, and he's looking good, he really is. If you don't want to retire, and he's looking good, he really is. If you don't want to retire, and he's looking good, he really is. If you don't want to retire, and he's looking good, he really is. If you don't want to retire, and he's looking good, he really is. If that's the running back I was talking about, Kyron Williams, who
Yeah.
looks really solid right now, which I did pick up in I think every single league I'm in. Yeah, well, hey, you got Hunt, man, so maybe Hunt will pay off for you, but I don't see Cincinnati being right just yet. I think there's a problem in Cincinnati. I think they need to figure out what it is. Uh, is it Burrow? Is it the line? Again, I don't know because he has weapons, but right now, to me, it looks like Burrow. Honestly, he's not throwing well. He's not making good reads. I don't know if he's just not going through his progressions or what it is, but he is looking horrible. So, and on the flip side, like I said, Stafford looking solid, playing solid. The run game for the Rams is solid. Um, they are 1-1, but I think they do enough to beat the Bengals here. This isn't the comeback game for the Bengals just yet. I think the Rams win here. And what is there?
It's a Bengals by 5.5.
5.5? Wow, I show them at 1.5. Wow. Well, either way, the Rams win. Doesn't really matter, does it?
Nope.
Rams win by we'll go with a field goal. Even though I think it'll be more like 7 or 10 points. The Rams.
So they gave the best team in the NFC a run for their money. They lost by 7. That team had to force a couple turnovers just to get it to that. Stafford was under duress the entire game, and it did not matter. Like he was a Stafford from a couple years ago, where he was just sitting in there, just chunking the ball. He's throwing now to any receiver with 4 letters, so I like that. What's his 2 games? His 2 games, he's thrown 334 against Seahawks, 307 against the Niners. He gonna bury the Bengals. Like he looks good. Joe doesn't look good. I don't know what they're seeing on the spread. Like, because the Rams can run the ball. The Rams still have Aaron Donald on defense. They still play decent defense, and Matthew Stafford is tearing it up. I think the Rams are going to win. I'll put the Rams by 3 because it doesn't matter. But yeah, I think the Rams are going to win.
Nice.
So, Harley, you still there?
Yes.
A moment of silence for your Cardinals? Anything you wish to add?
No, thank you.
So,
Games that we're really looking forward to watching this week.
I'm looking forward to the Jaguars beating the tar of the Texans, but that's not the real. I don't want to see the 49ers Giants. I don't want to see a lot of these games actually. Like, there's not a single game that I'm really like, other than my own team, that I'm like, yay. No. These Monday night games are bad.
Games this week. Wow.
No.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a Cowboys fan, so I'm going to watch that game, obviously. But you're right. Like, I think the biggest game that you want to see here is a 2-0 and 2-0 Tampa Bay versus the Eagles should be interesting, right? If Baker, just to see if Baker can pull it off. I think if the Colts had their rookie quarterback, I think that would be a pretty good game. I don't think he's playing, but that would be pretty nice. People are going to tune in to see how the Browns do versus the Titans, but not a game I'm really excited about watching. Honestly, really for me, it's just the Eagles and Tampa Bay that I think would be cool because I want to see the real Baker Mayfield come up. That's about it. It is a kind of not boring matchup week, but kind of, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I root for Baker. Like, I like the guy. I just do. I don't know what it. I don't know. I've liked him ever since he planted a flag at whatever Oklahoma, Texas, wherever he did it. So I like the kid. And I'd like to see some quarterback escape Cleveland.
Well, I don't know that it happens here. I root for Baker too. Obviously, he's a Texas kid. You want to root for him, but in the long run, I think the real Baker will come out. Look, listen, man. He ended up in Tampa, but he could have ended up in a lot of other places, and a lot of other teams passed on him, right? There's reasons for that. Obviously, he didn't do great in Cleveland. There's reasons for that. We'll see. I don't think he's going to be all that, but I am going to root for him against the Eagles because, well, I'm a Cowboys fan and we hate the Eagles.
Yeah, so I'm rooting for this week for the Browns. Obviously, the Jags to win. the any team playing an AFC South team. So,
The smart money, though.
do you think Akers going to the Vikings changes anything?
It can't hurt. Madison isn't running. He just isn't. I'm so disappointed in that. I really thought he would show up and show out, given that, hey, they believed in him. Cooks is gone. Like, I thought he was going to have just this blow up season, and it's not happening. I do think that Akers, to me, Akers, again, if we put him in these tiers, right? Akers isn't in the top tier or the second tier. He's kind of that mid tier to me, anyways. Maybe it's just the system he was in. Maybe he'll do better with Vikings. Sometimes a running back or even any athlete, any player needs a change of a venue, a change of location, and they end up, showing out. Could happen. It won't happen this week because he's still got to learn the offense. As soon as he does, we'll see. They obviously brought him in for a reason, man. They obviously do not believe in Madison, so they believe Akers can make a difference.
Well,
So
and Akers last year got hot at the end, so he had like 9 straight 100-yard carries. And I know he got the year before that he was hurt. And so he's coming off, basically coming off an injury and kind of started off slow. I think he's a slow starter. I think he likes the donuts too much.
What was the trade for?
I don't. Jeez. Looking up. Probably a box of donuts.
Was it a box of donuts? I was going to say that. Let's see. Oh, a swap of 2026 picks. Whoa.
Yeah, so basically it was donuts. Swapping conditional late round picks. The Vikings are getting a 7th rounder in exchange for a 6th round selection.
Just the equation of,
Yeah. We don't like this running back. We basically will give him to you for free.
Yeah, so I don't know, man. I don't know that he makes a big deal. Look, you got rid of him for a reason, right? You don't get rid of great running backs. You hang on to them, man. So who knows? Who knows what happened? Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, well, there's something wrong with team. Like, there was something hubbub about it at the Rams because he got deactivated for the last game and like he broke a rule or something like that. So, knowing that he's from Florida State, he probably was, I don't know, taking crab legs or something. So who knows? But yeah, that's the odd one. And generally, running backs can pick up the playbook pretty quick. So he might help many out. The only other one is what do you do with Justin Fields?
What can you do with Justin Fields? Obviously, the Bears have committed to him. Look, man, it's the type of quarterback he is, right? Like if he's a scramble and run quarterback, how do you change that, right? You're not going to make him into a pocket passer. It isn't where his strength is. It isn't what he's ever played. He's never been a straight up pocket passer. He's not going to be that in the NFL either. You either play him to his strengths or put him in a different position, bro. I mean, what other choices do you have? Right now, they're committed to him. The Bears is another one of those teams that's had quarterback issues for a while now.
Forever.
Yeah,
Like they've never had a quarterback. Yeah. Sid Luckman was the last one, right? Maybe McMahon, you throw him in for a year or two.
McMahon wasn't all that either.
Yeah, when he had the 85 Bears, he was really good, right? So.
But you hand that off, right? But yeah, McMahon was a dilfer. Let's be honest.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, they haven't. They've struggled so much, and then that franchise in itself is just sometimes chaotic, right? I don't know. I don't know what you would do with Justin Fields. Ride it out, right? Hope for the best if you're the Bears, but I think you'll hear it from a lot of Bears fans that just say what we say, right? He's a running quarterback. He's a running back playing quarterback, and eventually, I think Justin Fields has a place in the NFL. I just don't think it's at quarterback. Does that make any sense?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
a great receiver.
Does. I just, you see these, again, it amazes me how these NFL teams, I don't I guess there was we talked about it in the preseason. I didn't think, because people were doing analytics and Justin Field was a top 5 quarterback, and I'm like, okay, yes, he does rush for 100 yards a game, but basically they've curtailed the running and said throw, which is not his strong suit, and then they brought in a bunch of weapons for him, said, okay, this is what you needed. No, it's not. He's not accurate. He doesn't make good decisions. And he's not, one of the things he actually is good at is when the play breaks down, running and scrambling 60 yards for a touchdown. He's not doing that either. So the Bears look like they're completely lost.
We have a tough season. One note on the Bears: Rashawn Johnson, Texas running back behind old boy at the Falcons right now. He's going to be something special too. Just wait.
Nice. All right. Anything else for this week?
The Texans make Sunshine look like the next greatest quarterback in the NFL, and I'll be real happy for a week, and then it'll all fade away.
Go back away. I don't. Again, I think the biggest problems right now are those tackles. The line's just not playing very well, and be it injuries or scheme, and one of those things when you got all those weapons, I think that's actually having all those wide receivers weapons is actually bad, because they're not putting someone in to chip. Right? They're trying to get, Ingram's a wide receiver and a tight end body. And they've got Ridley, and then they got Zay Jones, and they've got Christian Kirk, and they're trying to run all these patterns out there, and they've only got 5 people blocking. It's just not working. So they've got to get better at having a tight end, just a big tight end to chip. But
they got to do something.
They got to do something. Hopefully they will. All right.
I have a last note for you.
Yep.
Miami and Broncos. Tua is amazed at John Elway's play on Sunday.
Get John Elway?
Think about it. Tua thinks he's playing against John Elway.
Gotcha.
One too many hits to the head, buddy.
I thought you'd be taller, John Elway. You look short.
Yeah, exactly. When'd you get curly hair?
Yeah, exactly. And you run a lot faster than I thought. All right, well, that's it. Thank you, Tua Concussion Brain. All right, everybody. You have a great week. Thanks. We're out.